Welcome to another Trosky Tuesday.
We're excited about our guest. Good to have you, brother. Let's turn some two tonight.
I'm fired up.
So right now I'm on this exciting kick of these words, and I have 10. I'm writing, it's a little booklet, and I call it Kokoro. And Kokoro basically, let's just start with Kokoro, Ian, and Ben, please, anytime you want to chime in, and Tony, if you have any questions. But Kokoro, what it means total well-being. It means complete harmony, mind, body, spirit. And if you could maybe touch up throughout your career, maybe as a player, what does that mean to you? Does it mean anything? We call it the full circle. And if we want to be complete, reaching our potential and peak performance, the mind, the body, and the spirit, we believe in the Japanese culture, they call it Kokoro. In the Jewish culture, we call it Shalom. And I know, you are Jewish, you're Israeli background, and that's, who you are from blood. So we have Shalom, which is total well-being, peace, mind, body, spirit. And then you have the Japanese talking about it as the word Kokoro. So our book is called Kokoro. And is there any comments that you can maybe touch up on from the mind, body, spirit relationship and what that means to you as a player?
Yeah, I mean, we can go all night on that. For me, the first word that comes to mind is just flow, right? For an athlete, where they always talk about he's in the groove, or he's in the flow, or he's unconscious, or he's, whatever it is, he's killing it, or whatever, right? To me, when you're talking about that, that's the word that came to my mind first, was just flow. And there has to be a connection between the body and the mind when you're doing something at such a high speed, and that is, there's so little room for error. You have to have the mind and the body connected. You can get away with, the mind being on point, and not the body. And you can get away with the body being on point and not the mind, but you're just not going to be as consistent. You're not going to be as great, and you're not going to find that peak performance that you're capable of doing without flow. And
is there anything in particular? Oh, keep going, please.
Yeah. So I didn't come full circle with this idea until I was traded to the Detroit Tigers in 2014. And I met a man named Matt Martin, a guy from Oklahoma, grew up in Oklahoma. He was supposed to be our video coordinator in Detroit, but this guy was as motivated as anyone I've been around, constantly wanted to be hitting fungos, throwing BP, super high energy guy, always wanted to be involved. He was on the field, full uniform, constantly. He's supposed to be our video guy. So, in the big leagues, some big leaguers would be like, "Hey man, get back in the video room. You're supposed to be the video guy. What are you doing out here?" But he exuded that. He exuded the energy. He exuded the, wanting to be a part of it, wanting to help. And he introduced me to something that he developed called 40 Club. And it really connected my mind and my body, and really showed me positioning. Like, proper positioning with your body allows your mind to be free. And that's why people talk about mechanics so often, and they harp on mechanics, because you do need to put your body in the correct position so your mind can be free and you can flow properly. So what the 40 Club was I think it was 12 little like juggling balls, like foam juggling balls. And they were all different colors. There was blue, red, and yellow, and green. So he had different colors mixed in. And he would go about 3 steps away, probably 3 yards away from me. And he'd get down on one knee, and he'd put the balls next to him. And I would get down in almost a catcher's stance, but my butt up in the air. So I'm in a tense position, but I'm super low. And the first time that I did 40 Club with him, he said, "Okay, now catch as many as you can. And if you catch 8 of these 12, we'll go to the next round. If not, we're going to stop, and I'm going to explain something to you." I said, "All right, man. Yeah, I can catch your stupid balls." So he gets down on his knee, and he's firing these balls at me quickly, boom, 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 one after another. And I don't know, I caught 5 or something, or 6. And so he said, okay, here's the deal. Next round, and he changed my positioning. He put my hand right in front of my eyes, right? Because I was kind of just like down here, just ready or whatever. I wasn't really thinking about my positioning and how to slow down the drill, right? You know, you hear athletes talking about slowing down the game. It's impossible to slow down the game. The ball, like if the pitcher throws the ball 93 miles an hour, it's coming 93 miles an hour. There's no like super Jedi trick. You can't slow the ball down. But the key is to be able to put your body in a functional position for yourself, depending on yourself, not anybody else. What puts you in the most functional position, and then having that free mind and that focus. He explained it to me, and I love to explain it this way, as an animal. So you want to be focused like a cheetah hunting. So if you pull up a video of a cheetah, he had these two laminated photos that he would show. And he'd show the picture of a cheetah's face. And he'd go, is this cheetah laying down, or is this cheetah hunting? Is this cheetah running 80 miles an hour after an antelope, or is it laying down? And you're like, it's laying down for sure. Because all you see is the cheetah completely relaxed, no movement, right? You're like, yeah, that cheetah's laying down. And then he'd show you the exact same photo, and he'd go, what about this one? And you're like, I just answered that. And you go, no, these are two different photos. And then he would show you the body of the cheetah, and the cheetah is racing after an antelope going, 60 miles an hour or whatever. And the other one, the cheetah's laying under a tree, just hanging out in the shade. So to have that focus when you're chasing after something at your full speed, at your full potential, you're trying to beat out an infield hit. Are you running with a relaxed, composed face? Because your face tells everything. If you're tense, if I'm running and I'm like trying to get the first, and then my head goes back or whatever, like you're not moving at your fastest speed, and you're not seeing everything. You're not taking in everything. So that was his explanation. That was the point of his 40 club drill, was to emphasize the animal-like Zen, right? The book of Zen. Right. So you want to get into that state as often and as long as you can when you're participating in sports. And that, to me, it's a true belief, because I learned that, I took it seriously, and it made me better. So, that's something that we could probably go back and forth all night about.
Yeah, we can. Were those balls, were they just special? Were they just kind of his own balls? You kind of put together a little drill that kind of taught what his principle was? Or was it like a system that he actually sold? Is it like a system that he bought from like ancient Japan?
No,
he created it.
He created it, and he had 40 club shirts and everything. If you got to a certain level in the drills, like, so he would go through one, you'd go through the 12 with your left hand, then you'd go through the 12 with your right hand, then you'd go through the 12 with two hands. He would throw them to both sides of your body, and you're just still moving, catching the balls on each side. And then you go cross hand, and you have to catch the balls cross-handed. And then he starts mixing them up, where he's bouncing them, he's throwing high, he's throwing them sharp at you. And then he's calling out, and then he'll go to a stage where he's calling out colors. So, you're only supposed to catch the green ones or whatever, or, you're only supposed to catch the yellow ones, or he'll call out while he's throwing, catch, no catch, whatever it is. And the goal is to just get to the point where you're able to slow down that activity, and it continues to get more speed and chaos. Like I can remember one time we were at Fenway, and next to the cage at Fenway, there's this little like cement tunnel that I don't even know what it's used for. I never saw anybody walk down there, but that's where we do the 40 club. I did 40 club probably at least once a series. So once every 3 days, I would get with Matt, and we do 40 club. But there's this little hallway next to the cage. So I would do my 40 club before I went into hit, just to get myself in that frame of mind. And he was firing these balls off the wall, like off the ceilings, bouncing them everywhere, just firing them. because you get to a point where the first round that you experience almost becomes a walk in the park. So you have to continually make the speed faster and make it more chaotic. So you see the improvement, and that was kind of, you know, that was a moment that I remember. It was just being in Fenway and just like firing balls off the wall.
How many guys, did a lot of guys buy into it? Was it kind of your deal with him with that organization, and did you take it with you, or was that something you kind of just did when he was around? Or
so James McCann bought into it. Nick Castellanos kind of bought into it. I would say he bought into it, but then he got kind of lazy with it. Miguel Cabrera did it for a little while, but then Miggy's the kind of guy that's just like, I don't want anything going into my brain ever. I just want to hit. I don't want to think about anything. Because he's just natural. So I think he naturally does those types of things. So he didn't want to overstimulate, I guess. So he would do it, but not very consistently. And other guys would definitely do it. Some guys fought it. Some guys thought it was the dumbest thing ever. You know, Omar Vizquel loved it. You know, he thought it was awesome. Yeah. So, you know, guys did it, and there were guys that definitely bought into it.